a great way to go racing.
Yep, so safety car has peeled in this time, so the two front row drivers controlling the pace for the moment. The red lights are still on, but now they go out. The accelerators are dropped and away we go. It's a great start by the Honda of Josh Lawton from the second row of the grid, and it's going to be Josh Lawton in that Civic that's going to lead into Richie's for the first time by the looks of it. Is he going to carry on in the lead on the exit of the corner? Yes, he is. It looks like it's Rob Boston in second place in the Lotus, and then third is the TCR Audi, isn't it? So that is the car being started by Mark Grice, I think.
And here comes Liam Bidgeway around the outside of everybody at Wilson. So here be, what is that, fourth, something like that? So it's a fantastic start from the fourth row of the grid. Yeah, he is fourth, is Leon Bidgeway. So the Marston's car has lost out a lot here. And for the lead, Rob Boston, is he defending or is he attacking? Hard to tell really at the moment. But yeah, I think he's defending. Good Mark Grice in the Audi, who's been pretty aggressive at the starts here, trying to gain positions. Couldn't quite make that work, I don't think. As the field come down here with these different shapes and sizes of car that work their way to and through abreast still as they turn their way through. I can see they saw Semi Bolo, who's had to rebuild her car since Mount Tactical. She had a role in qualifying there. It's good to see that she's got the Mini Cooper out. So just turn through shot there at Agostini, but it's free for the lead. It's Honda, it's Lotus, and it's Audi. So you've got the home adapted Honda, the Rob Boston Racing prepared Lotus, and then the Audi Sport car there in third position. Lots of dust in the background. Hopefully all is well. Again, Rob Boston having to defend from Mark Grice. Josh Lawton, I think this is his first season of racing. He's got two massively experienced drivers behind him. Rob Boston, who's won so many championships. Mark Grice, who was a Civic Cup Championship contender. So this is a great effort so far.
It is, and he only did a 2:05.95 in practice this morning to qualify for the grid. Rob Boston did a 2:03.10, so nearly 3 seconds between them.
Boston's gone down the inside through Corn, but he couldn't quite do it. I can see it outside the commentary box window. So through the tighter parts of the circuit, that's where the Lotus is good, and he's got good acceleration off of Murray. So we know the Civic by the end of the straight should have the speed. So who's going to lead at the end of one lap?
It's going to be Josh Lawton, I think. He's up to the line now, and he's got about 2 or 3 car lengths. He's able to stretch his legs away from Boston, who's going to have a look down the inside into Richards, but not close enough to make that work. It's Mark Grice in third place in the Audi. In fourth place, it's the number 32 Lotus of Leon Bidgeway. In fifth place, it's the number 15 car of Colin Gillespie, and it's Andy Martin's BMW rounding out the top 6. And we've had 2.5 minutes of the race, so it looks like we're going for the full 45.
That'd be good news. And Lawton, again, doesn't have the speed through the hairpin, so Rob Boston's got alongside him, but it's the inside line for Josh Lawton. But right round the outside, into Palmer goes Rob Boston, and he takes the lead of the race. You kind of thought that would be coming, but immediately has to defend. He knows the Honda's got good straight line speed. He's weaving about now. Not sure if that's totally necessary, but Rob Boston has braked late into Headley, and Bidgeway is under pressure from the huge Zayat of Colin Gillespie, or it looks that way, doesn't it, compared to the Lotus Exige. But Liam Bidgeway trying to muscle it out on the inside line to hang on there to fourth position. He couldn't do it though. Gillespie's got round the outside, and this really shows how the power to weight ratio works with cars that are much quicker down the straights and cars that are much quicker through the bends.
Yeah, 4 different classes within the road sports as well. Class A up to 300 brake horsepower. That's one of the Class B cars, is it not? That's gone for the spin. The leader of Class B, the 137 car of Kevin Talbot. So he's got to do a 10-second pit stop penalty as well. That would like to salt into the room now. So he's on Class B. That's the 240 brake horsepower per tonne class. Class A is up to 300. Class C up to 180, and the sport class, Class D, is up to 145. But these are Class A cars, so that's up to 300, and it is now Rob Boston, the very experienced former MX5 champion, leading the way then from Josh Lawton in second position.
Concerningly, Kevin Talbot's Integra's not going anywhere, so that's a potential issue. But yeah, they can see the car there off at Agostini's. Rob Boston's driving away now from the front-wheel drive cars behind him. Josh Lawton's home-built cars ahead of all the TCR cars here at this stage as they come up across the line. He's still there then in second place ahead of Mark Grice. Is that another car that's been off? That's the Lee Forrington MR2. But into Richie's there, Josh Lawton was able to hang on ahead of Mark Grice, and Colin Gillespie through in fourth. Liam Bidgeway was fifth, Andy Marston sixth, Warren Allen in seventh, and from the front row of the grid, Matthew Hampson's dropped to eighth.
So that is the fight now for second position on screen. It's the grey Honda Civic, the modified Honda Civic of Josh Lawton, number 10, and 127, that TCR, Mark Bryce, the Audi Sport car, in third position. Yellow flags, though, now waving on the run to Agostini, and the safety car is being brought into action. So that's why I've got yellow flags actually going all around the circuit. There you can see the board as well being shown on the start and finish line. So safety car being called into action. Not quite sure why that is. The safety car going out, but it's not at this stage picking up the race leader.
But it's out before the leader, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yes, indeed.
I think the Integra got back going. It's not there at Agostini's anymore. We saw the MR2 off, didn't we? But we'll see if that comes through, or who might be missing here. So that's a real shame, because that was an exciting start to the race. We haven't picked up the reason at this point for this interruption. So Rob Boston's lead's going to do it again. There's the MR2, the Forrington car that's come through. So Kevin Talbot's the only car that hasn't come through, but he's not where he once was at Agostini.
Okay. So possibly that's a bit of a Ginetta wing.
That's the Tidmarsh rear
the
wing.
Tidmarsh car, isn't it?
He was battling for Class B lead with the Talbot Integra. Whether that means anything.
Well, could do. Could have been a little bit of contact there, maybe. Is it just because they want to retrieve that debris then that we've got this safety car?
I don't think Kevin Talbot. Yeah, he did make it through, didn't he? So there's actually everyone is still running. So there shouldn't be too long of a break. Although the problem here is there's not really going to be a gap in any train for a while, is there? Because everyone's spread all the way around the circuit.
That is one of the problems here. But we'll see if the marshals can do the job of recovering that. It could also be the case, I suppose, that the safety car was called, and there's the marshal going to get that wing, so he's found a gap to be able to do that.
I think the whole boot.
It looks like it's the whole rear bodywork, I think, isn't it? The way it's the Ginetta is assembled.
Yeah, Ginetta's just coming to the line now. Here it is, the Gulf coloured car.
Yes, yeah, it's the whole boot and wing assembly, isn't it? So that the aero will be quite different on that car now. The handling will be quite different on that car.
Be lighter.
It will be lighter as well. It could also have been the situation, I was going to say though, that the safety car was called while there was still a car stuck and then it got going again, as sometimes happens. Or it could just be that it was always for that bodywork to be retrieved.
So presumably those cars that were behind the safety car that you mentioned, the safety car not picking up the lead, and will get waved through. We would hopefully get this way quite quickly, and we won't worry too much about any gaps. Those cars haven't been waved through though, have they?
Not yet, and the safety car lights are out as well.
Just carry on, regardless.
So possibly that's what we will do. With 8 minutes of the race now gone, so 37 we reckon to go, assuming we do go the full 45 minutes after the delay to the start, while we sorted out those. A couple of reserves made sure they were off the circuit.
No one's actually caught Rob Boston at this stage, have they? Well, there's a Ginetta on the screens now, so if you're watching at home, you can see the bootless G40 and wingless now. Yeah. So it once had a wing, it's gone again.
You're all right though, in that I think Rob Boston is still is he not still 10 seconds clear somewhere?
Well, not quite that now. There are some big old gaps, aren't there? People aren't catching the safety car train up as you might expect.
Green flag's being made ready beneath us, and it is waved now to one of the back markers, in actual fact.
This is where Boston's got to be careful, actually. And the others are still not there, are they?
They've been left napping, really. That's not particularly clever racing. Rob Boston did wait until he passed the start and finish line before he overtook anyone. He's overtaken a couple of those back markers now.
If those other cars got close enough, they could have jumped him there on that restart with slower cars.
2 seconds between Boston and Lawton as they came over the line.
To be fair though, Lawton was actually only 6 seconds off his fastest lap, so he was putting it on pretty quickly.
Yeah, that is true. So race back underway then, with 9 minutes of the timed element of 45 gone. And Rob Boston it is, turning his way through the left-hander at Palmer now, and on towards the left-handed hairpin at Agostini. Just in the background there, you can see coming towards us the big Audi just in behind the Honda. That's lapping that Kevin Talbot, what was the Class B pole position car, the one that spun earlier. and that's now been passed, or lapped I should say, by Lawton and by Grice as 54 goes rally crossing. That's Stephen Harrison in the Honda S2000.
Yeah, that went well at Brands. That was inside the top 10 overall there, Stephen Harrison. With an unusual car in racing terms. Don't see many S2000s out there, so it's great to see. There's Josh Lawton then, who leads the way. So really on that lap actually, most of the field were only 2 or 3 seconds off their fastest laps, so therefore everyone was trying to catch the safety car up. It's just that Rob Boston had a pretty good lead before the safety car came out, that he sort of still had a lead at the end of it. Everybody then has taken the restart. You see the Matthew Ford Puma, the Matthew Footman car. There's William Puttigill, one of the Type R Trophy competitors, who's racing here in the Roadsports there, being out racing on his partner next weekend. And he's battling with the Rory Baptiste BMW 330. There's one of the older Seat Leons in there too. That's Andy Chapman's car. That was a good battle.
We're just getting back to the Honda S2000 that we mentioned of Stephen Harrison. Stephen's actual favourite circuit is Snetterton. So he'll be enjoying his time racing here today. His car that he compares with his father, as off the circuit goes that ill-handling bootless Ginetta, and it manages not to hit anything or be hit by anything else.
He had a huge moment on the brakes, whether this is because of the lack of rear downforce.
I suspect it might be.
And he was facing the barriers at one point on the inside of the circuit. Then he saved it. I think now he's giving up, isn't he, making his way back to the pit lane. So that was quite the moment. Josh Lawton's dropped to 4th at the end of the lap. So Rob Boston leads by 4.6 seconds. Mark Grice and Colin Gillespie have got past Josh Lawton's Honda Civic, it would seem. And here comes Matthew Tidmarsh, former Mazda racer, and I presume he's headed for the pits.
I think he probably has done, yes. Yes, he's not coming through, so not a lot you can do about that, other than retrieve the bit of bodywork and strap it back on again. I wonder how it became detached in the first place.
And hope it's not damaged.
Yes.
So it would have come off at a decent speed. I mean, look at the cars around him actually, so that would have been a bit of a dicey moment. Right, he's down there in the pit lane. And I doubt he'll be back out for this race. Here's about of a second. Colin Gillespie is catching Mark Grice, I'd suggest here. So Gillespie's not been racing for very long. He's had a huge, vast range of cars. He said he nearly stopped racing when his current car had an issue at the beginning of the year, and then the club helped him source this Seat with the assistance of Capture Motorsport to get him out last time out at Croft, and had a great time, and now is committed to this programme. Wasn't far off winning the race, I don't think, at Croft, and now he's here and sharing with fellow Scotsman Phil Driver, who's got a bit more experience in racing. And he's going really well, Gillespie here, and he's Mike. Okay, he was going well.
Well, there we go. Josh committing the curse of the commentator. I'm afraid it's Gillespie that's fallen victim of that graceful spin at Murray's, and he rejoins just behind that lapped Honda Integra.
Yeah, Mark Grice had a bit of a moment, and then I think Gillespie tried to follow his line and it didn't work out. A new lap record, Rob Boston, 2:03.78, goes underneath Brian Brampton's lap record from the end of last year by a few tenths of a second. So that's the fastest Roadsports lap we've ever seen around here. That is a pretty rapid lap for a car on treaded tyres, no slicks in the Roadsports series. That's only a few seconds off a touring car, a GT4 car. So that's very impressive by Rob Boston, who leads now by 9 seconds over Mark Grice. He's back under pressure after that small error he made from Josh Lawton. Lots of dust being kicked up, and this might be more than dust this time. That's the Nissan, the Ricky Abel 370Z, a new car for this year, and I think he's backed into the barriers quite possibly, so that's a real shame.
Car, isn't it? Yeah, Ricky Abel, door open, so he's going to get out of the car. Hopefully he's okay, but the car is off on a rather unusual position, that as well.
Well, if you run wide out of Williams, its car tends to spin. I think they had an issue like here last weekend where the barriers had to be repaired. Someone did that. Don't think it's quite as bad this time. But Ricky Abel told me yesterday that's a car in development for this year, and that's at the end of this race for it.
We've had a change of lead in Class B because Andy Bailey in the number 95 Volkswagen Golf has gone through into the to the lead, is it? Golf, or is it Fiesta in
Fiesta
this race? Yes, that's right. I think it's all the golf in the paddock, which is what confused me.
Right.
And Matthias Radstock in second now in that class.
Change for third on screen there. Andy Marston got past Josh Lawton just about, so the BMW ahead. Warren Allen is trying to get past Liam Bidgeway, but we're going to have another interruption to this race just as the pit window opens.
Yes, so safety car is out again, and 15 minutes
now
on the clock is now, so the pit window will open.
Boston's missed his chance, so this could be a real problem for Rob Boston if everybody else pits immediately. Teams are scampering, yet cars are coming into the pit lane. This is exactly what happened at Brands Hatch. The pit window opened under a safety car period. Marston hasn't come in and Lawton hasn't, but has Mark Grice from second, the Audi?
Yes, he's coming down the pit lane, I can see. So Mark Grice is heading down the pit lane. The Ginetta, by the way, is being pushed into the garage by the looks of it out of the race. Also, I think Leon Bidgeway is coming in as well. So Leon Bidgeway also in. He was from, I think, 6th place.
So as long as you can get this pit stop done and get back out again before the train comes around, you would be in a pretty strong position, I would imagine.
Yeah, you'd think so. It's a long old lap, of course, so there's plenty of time. It's a 60-second stop unless you've got a penalty from success in a previous round, in which case you have to have 5, 10, 15 or 20 seconds added to your time that you serve in the pit stop. There is Rob Boston then in the number 9 car. He is the race leader, but now he's got to sit behind that yellow BMW, the number 29 car. 129 car, I should say, which is the Adcox, Phil Adcock at the wheel of that at the moment, Phil the father.
Yeah, that Nissan office met Ricky Abel yesterday. He's in the military and he's backed by one of the services charities in that Nissan, but that's a car that's being developed over the course of this year. I think their plans in the future is Club Enduro, they'll be built as an endurance racing car. And he's saying the problem with a Nissan 370Z is getting parts for them, because he said you either get a Nissan 370Z which is pristine and therefore very expensive, or one that is not in very good condition at all. There's sort of no middle ground. So pit stops are being completed, aren't they? Because Liam Bidgeway is coming back out again. So he's beaten the Audi out. Yeah, so what's happened to Mark Grice's pit stop?
The car's still there, it's still stationary, it's not showing any immediate signs of coming out.
Of course, if you've got a sequential box, don't you
10 seconds, but even so, that's been more than an extra 10 seconds, I think.
As long as they get out, I guess, in the train, it's not the end of the world, but they are losing positions now. So who else pitted here? Because it was their cars that might have advantage. So 32 Liam Bidgeway has come out. 67 Lloyd Chafer, I think the local driver, damaged there on the screens. Is that an exhaust from Warren Allen?
Yeah, it looks like it.
That's dragging, so that's going to have to be fixed. So Lloyd Chafer, Matthew Weymouth have pitted.
Well,
Pierre McConomy.
Matthew Hampson's pitting, but he's managed to no, he's going back out again, but he's managed to hold a train of cars, some of which were coming in and some of which were going out.
And that includes Rob Boston, the race leader.
Yes, Boston now in.
So where's the safety car?
Safety car was just ahead of Allen, wasn't it?
So Rob Boston's ahead of the safety car, which shouldn't really have happened, but it has. So that means Rob Boston might actually... Can he get out before the safety car?
I think he possibly could.
Right.
He's not got any penalty to serve, has he? I don't think.
Because he's now moved classes, he would have had a load of penalty for winning in Class B every time. Now, is there a problem? The engine cover has been taken up. Is that just to check things out? So this is the car that Will Stacey has raced in the Club Enduro so far this season. And Rob Boston's going to share it with him tomorrow.
That's right.
So this is a good time for him to get to grips with it. It looks like it's going to be quick, doesn't it? So the lap times he's doing is pretty much on Club Enduro lap record pace. Sure. So that's going to be quick tomorrow as well, and of course Will Stacey fast too.
Had confirmation from Kevin McGinney down in the pit lane that number 8 is not going to go back out into the race. That's the Matthew Tidmarsh Ginetta, which had that damage, bodywork loss.
The Lotus just going back out into the race. That's had to be significantly rebuilt after the Brands Hatch. I'll get involved in that. So a different driver, Johnny Cooper, in it this weekend. So yeah, Rob Boston and Josh Lawton actually have both got out before the safety car train.
And I think so too is going to be Andy Marston or Brett Evans. We said it was Andy Marston for the first part of the race, and we'll say it's Brett Evans for the second part, but that's 50-50 chance.
What on earth happens now? So Rob Boston is still the leader, isn't he? he's going to now... Yeah, this is going to get confusing, I think.
It is. What have we got? 19.5 minutes of the race have gone by. The pit lane windows over there for another 10.5 minutes. The safety car's just coming up to the line.
He's staying out.
It is. The safety car is staying out there.
Is anyone else?
No. The first car behind it is one of the MX-5s, and also I think Leon Bidgeway. Leon Bidgeway is coming.
Yeah, because he pitted early.
He did pit early. So
he's going to end up 4th.
Yes.
In the race.
It's Chris Fantana in the 22 car. That's the first car. So the order, as things stand, is number 9 Rob Boston leading, number 10 Josh Lawson second, number 37 Andy Martin and Brett Evans third, and 32 Leon Bidgeway in 4th. But Bidgeway is the first of those cars that's behind the safety car. The first 3 are all well ahead of it.
Yeah. So there's either a lot has got to be sorted out.
A lot of waving through has got to be done.
Or we just go racing.
Or we go, which I think
the other problem here for some of the drivers making their pit stops, they're going to lose a lap to Rob Boston possibly.
Could do. The Nissan's being towed away, so from that point of view, surely we should be able to go racing once again.
How much damage is there to it? Not going to see it actually.
Pit lane now is still fairly busy, but I think a lot of cars probably have now made their stops. Sadly, we're not able to hear from drivers during the course of this race. Just a few technical issues today that we're still trying to sort out. I think there has been a bit of contact in the pit lane, so the officials will be going to work to sort that out.
See, John Munro has taken over the car that Sam McKee started. I think they've lost quite a few positions there. So certainly the early stoppers on the whole have gained, and on the whole the late stoppers have lost out, apart from Boston, Lawson and then the Marston and Evans car.
Yeah. So a stream of cars going past on track and a stream of cars coming out of the pit lane as well. Phil Drybridge is about to go back out into the race at the number 15. Sayat has taken over from Colin Gillespie as well.
And they were, what, 4th, and now they're 35th.
Yes, that's not worked out for them at all, has it? But entertaining for them to try and climb back through the field, I suppose, in whatever time we have left.
We've still got half the race to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is a lot of time left, depending on what happens next. So, safety car not yet waving anybody through, if that is going to happen.
Yes, and there'd be a lot that would need to be waved through. It would take a while to affect all of that, wouldn't it? So we'll see how things pan out. We're here at Snetterton on the 300 circuit for this TEGIWA Roadsports Series race, the 4th of the season. We're on our 2nd safety car period of the race so far. And it's Rob Boston that leads the race in the number 9 Lotus, which is Elise, overpowered. And there is the 69 car, which is now being driven by Andy Schultz for the 2nd half of the race. That is in 12th at the moment.
Going to be one to watch, isn't it? Andy Schultz qualified 2nd this morning. So Class B leader is now Andy Bailey, who you said I think got the position on the road, but he's actually 8th overall now. The cars are being waved through, are they here?
Looks like that must be happening, yes.
So whether they let them catch or just go at the end of this lap, that we shall see. Then 2nd in Class B is Matthias Radestock, and 3rd in the class is Paul Bancroft. Class C is headed by Matt Creed, who went really well at Brands Hatch. He's ahead of William Puttigo, and Justin Cooper is there in 3rd. And then, can we see who leads Class D, which is a little bit further down the order. It's Matthew Footman in the Puma.
Yeah, 34th overall.
Ahead of the Adcocks and Chris Fantana. So here comes the pack.
Green flag being waved.
Okay.
Green flag is being waved, so we're getting back underway. So the circuit having been cleared, and we've got 21 minutes of the race left to go. Safety car then back in. And it's a little bit of a chaotic race, this one, we have to say, but still plenty of entertainment, I'm sure, for the remaining probably 10 laps that we're going to have in this, I would think. Hopefully no more safety car periods, Josh.
Fingers crossed. So Rob Boston's yet to take the restart. So we got he, Josh Lawton and Brett Evans, and they're probably half a lap about that ahead.
Yeah, just coming up now, that group, the 3 leaders over the line now, and so they can start overtaking. And the BMW in 3rd place is going to attack the Honda for 2nd, and they were door handle to door handle through ridges. So that is now Andy Marsh and Brett Evans BMW up to 2nd place ahead of Josh Lawton. That happened down in the ridges corner, and the BMW not very far behind Rob Boston either. We can see that on screen now.
Yeah, that's right, but Boston's pace from earlier would suggest he should go away from that pack now. So 20 minutes of racing still to go, more dust being kicked up. And here's the battle of the rest. Well, that's headed by Leon Bidgeway. Lloyd Chafer just behind him, returning to racing, I think a couple of years out. Then Matthew Weymouth, who won at Silverstone, I think, yeah. And he's now just ahead of Matthew Hampton's car, now driven by Andy Schulz. He started the lap 12th, and he's, what, 7th now, I think. So that's quite the restart. He's ahead of Keir McConomy. He's making his Roadsports, first season in Roadsports this year. He's up next in the 1 Series, and then Will Beach in that Capture Motorsport Audi that's coming through next. There's Bidgeway though in that Exige. They're pulling away from the next group. But here's Andy Schulz then, the former Brit Car champion. He goes through and gains another place. He's up to 6th.
Yep, so then the next target, I think it's going to be Lloyd Chafer, is it not, in the 67 car, which goes across the line now. Only a few moments ahead of Andy Schulz there, so I think that will change before too much longer.
Liam Bidgeway is 82nd behind the car we watch now, Rob Boston, so it's just over half a lap that the top 3 have an advantage. So unless something happens to those 3, nobody else is going to really see the Class A podium, are they?
We saw Warren Allen with the exhaust hanging off the back, confirmation that he's retired to the paddock with that issue. So there's Rob Boston.
Sideways.
I think moment there as he's doing some back marker lappery. And there is, that's the 15 car, which is now a lap down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of Phil Dryborough, so sort of trying to unlap itself as best it can. So big loser in that safety car period. But there's the race leader, number 9, Rob Boston, now 2 3/4 seconds clear of Andy Marston and Brett Evans, their BMW. Josh Lawton is still 3rd, about 4 seconds behind the 2nd place car. And obviously it's a long gap back to Leon Bidgeway in 4th place with the way that the field was split up. Amid the safety car.
Yes, that means probably the classes might be a little bit more interesting. Oh, as Janetta goes in for a big old spin. That was 198, which is the car driven by Justin Cooper, the former Pre-66 Mini competitor. And he gets back on after rotating. So Class B is headed by Andy Bailey by 3 seconds over Matthias Radestock. Bancroft 3rd. Matt Creed leads Class C by 3 seconds over William Puttergill. Justin Cooper was 3rd in that class, but he just spun that away. So that means Tim Hartland, I think, will come through 3rd in the class. And then in Class D, Matthew Footman leads by 9 seconds over Matthew Adcock. And then 3rd is Chris Fantana's Mazda. The pole man in the car, so David Drinkwater 4th, but I think he's quite a long way behind.
So we are working lap 12 of our race. Our screen's just frozen in the commentary box, so apologies for that. Not sure if it's frozen for everybody else as well. But it is Boston still leading. From Marston and Evans in 2nd place, Josh Lawton 3rd, Leon Bidgeway, yeah, he's about 1 minute and 20 seconds behind the leaders, which is about 2/3 of a lap, isn't it? And then Hampson 5th and Lloyd Chafer in 6th position, Josh.
Yeah, Andy Schulz is catching Bidgeway, isn't he? By about 1 a lap, but he's 4 behind at the moment. So that's a battle possibly to watch for 4th position. For Class B, yeah, Andy Bailey, I think he's still pulling away. How close is he to lap record? There's a couple of seconds off, I think. Matthew Creed, he's broken his own lap record in Class C, 2 minutes 15.57, about half a second quicker than he's gone in the past. And Class D, don't think we're yet on lap record pace there. So 12 laps done by the leaders. Across the line goes Rob Boston. He's now 6.3 seconds ahead of Brett Evans, who on that lap was a little bit slower than Josh Lawton. So Josh Lawton gets a bit closer once more, who's there in third position. The next cars to come up across the line will be Liam Bidgeway, who's there in fourth position. Here he comes into Coram, being caught by Andy Schulz all the time. So the gap was 3.8 seconds at the start of the lap, but the BMW M3 is catching the Lotus Exige as they make their way down in towards Murray's for 6th and 7th there together, because Lloyd Chafer has been caught by William Beach, who's going quite quickly now in the Audi RS3. So those two cars pretty much together as they come out of Murray's and accelerate up to the line, but still Lloyd Chafer's E36 M3 is ahead of William Beach there. Andy Schulz is in the 205s now, so he's the second quickest driver on the circuit, but still 2 seconds a lap slower than what Rob Boston did earlier on. So down in towards Wilson, we can see on our screens now Lloyd Chafer under pressure from William Beach, and Beach gets a tighter line. He can't quite go through though, but as I just noted, he is a couple of seconds a lap quicker than the BMW in front, so you'd think the Audi should be able to make a pass before too much longer.
Absolutely right. So 40 minutes of the race left to go here at Snetterton, and you've got Beach there chasing after Chafer. This for final place inside the top 6 down to Agostini. Look at the difference in apparent size between those two cars, the TCI Audi and the more conventional BMW, and the Audi does go through to 6th position.
It's the width for the big arches, isn't it?
Yes.
Things like that, and the big rear wing on it. Somebody had an off there. Look, kicking up the dust. I think got away with it. So 14 laps, 14th lap of the race Rob Boston has started. The cars we watch here are still working lap 13. So Chafer there still in P7. He's 5 seconds ahead of Matthew Weymouth there now.
Still 6 seconds, isn't it, between the two Class B leaders, Andy Bailey and Matthias Radstock. So that's not looking too close. And Matt Creed comfortably ahead in Class C, about 5 seconds between himself and William Puttergill, I think, at the moment.
For fourth, Andy Schulz has now caught, we just saw for a moment there, caught Liam Bidgeway. A couple of the Lotuses out there. Is that Radstock possibly? We just got a shot of. He's second in Class B. Yeah, just ahead of Paul Bancroft's Civic. And John Munro, I think, is trying to work his way past them, the Class A car. So he's in 13th overall, John Munro, who won this equivalent race a year ago. Across the line, the 4th place, it's side by side as Andy Schulz goes around the outside of Liam Bidgeway into Ritchie's and goes through. So a change for 4th position then. Andy Schulz won't get any further because he's 70 seconds behind the next car.
Yeah, and there's only 12 and a bit minutes of the race left to go, so I'm sure he'll get a bit closer to them, but he's not going to take third, second or first positions unless cars in front have a problem now. Well, Boston 9 seconds to the good ahead of the BMW of Martin and Evans, and then Lawton another 3.5 seconds behind that car. As we watch now the Schultz BMW, the orange car, and the Bidgeway Lotus that he's just passed. There's still nose to tail for 4th and 5th.
The nose was almost under the tail there, wasn't it, for a moment as they went through the hairpin. So the infield, that's where the Lotus is a quick car. As the cars there make their way through. Hamilton just passing 750 Motor Club photographer John Elsey, who's out there on the infield. And I'm sure all his pictures will be up on the website over the coming week.
Yeah, always great images from John, well worth having a look at those. Usually there's some shared on Facebook as well to give you a teaser of what's on his website as well, and on the club website. So these two, 4th and 5th, Bidgeway on the right hand side of your picture, and on the left hand side of the picture at the moment, or his previously was, Andy Schultz in the orange number 69 BMW that was started by his teammate Matthew Hampson. So they're heading through the bomb hole towards Coram once again. Class D, actually Class D is a little bit tighter than some of the others now, only 4.4 seconds between Matthew Footman in the 125 car, and Matthew Adcock is now being the 129 car, and Adcock actually lapping a little bit faster than Futman, so we could have a change on our hands for the Class D honours before the end of the race, Josh.
Yeah, they've gone across the line now 2.4 seconds apart. Adcock's a couple of seconds a lap faster, so I think, as you say, that is a battle on in the final 10 minutes for Class D. We watched Rob Boston, the overall leader, so the cars we're looking out for in Class D is the number 125 Ford Puma and the 129 BMW Compact. So probably... yeah, they're just going into Parma, the battle for Class D. So heading down towards Agostini, the Puma still a little bit ahead, and we can pick that up on our screens now.
Yeah, orange Puma and the yellow Compact together, so these are the two battling for the lead in Class D, and it's actually all about Matt Adcock chasing after now Matthew Futman in the orange Puma. You'd fancy, I think, the Compact to be a little bit faster under normal circumstances, of course. They did have to have a 5-second penalty as well, Phil and Matthew Adcock.
Yeah, Phil Adcock won at Silverstone, but he was sharing then with Archie O'Brien. We haven't seen a win yet for Matthew Futman this season. He has had a second though in Class D, so he'll be right to hang on this time if he can.
Just watching the 87 car go through, that's the Chris Byallen Clio. You can see the 47 Ginetta as well. That's the Kevin Bottomley car for the Formula Ford race, and he's just ahead of Steve Hutchinson in that BMW 328i, the man from Doncaster in the 253 car. Class B, that is still being led by Andy Bailey, but that gap has come down by 3/4 of a second on the previous lap. So the Fiesta ahead of Radstock, for the London tech entrepreneur, who was the Lotus Elise Trophy Championship winner in 2020, and the ES Motorsport prepared 1.8 litre supercharged Toyota engine Lotus Elise S3.
Class D cars are making their way up to the lines. We'll see if this gap, which was a couple of seconds, has come down. Well, not this lap,
No,
I don't
think it has.
So is that because the Puma's going quicker or the Compact's going slower?
Puma's done its best lap of the race, 2:24.63, and that time Adcock was a 2:24.74, so almost identical lap times. But that actually was quite a significant improvement in Matthew Futman's personal best lap time, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So he has got a chance here, hasn't he, that he can hang on. They're well ahead of the rest. I think the others in Class C must have been caught up on the wrong side of the safety car train. Oh, the Audi's slowing, the RS3 that was running inside the top 6. So William Beach in this Capture Motorsport Audi RS3 might not even make it back to the pits.
No, he's struggling, isn't he, there to get back. I think he is just about going to make it by the looks of it, but that car's going to be out of the race. So that's promoting others. It's tumbling down the order. It's now down to 15th.
He was battling with Lloyd Chaffee. It's just another very slow lap. Whether them two facts are related or not.
Ooh, possibly.
But the RS3 doesn't look visibly to have any damage.
No, so it's back into the pit lane and out of the race with 7 minutes of the race left to go. Driving standards flags being shown to someone with a 3-digit number, which doesn't narrow it down too much actually in this field. Quite a few teams have a 3-digit number for their car.
Josh Lawton had a very slow last lap, a 2:16. The driver in 3rd position. So we have to look out for him. And we have 6 minutes of this race to go. So 4th placed Andy Schulz is about to make his way up across the line, I think, in the Torque Speed BMW. Oh, at least he should be. He's not there though, because Liam Bidgeway is ahead. So Liam Bidgeway has got back into 4th position, ahead of Andy Schulz. Slow
lap for Schulz. Yeah, 2:11, so about 6 seconds off what he has been doing. So a mistake there, probably. Possibly an intermittent problem with the car.
These cars have got to do 3 hours tomorrow.
So have we.
John Munro's got himself back inside the top 10, just on a PB, 209.02. I don't think he's going quite as quickly as he went last year, but we know the car had to be rebuilt during the week. Across the line, a battle for 7th, because Keir McConomy has caught Lloyd Chafer, and he's going down the inside into Ritchie's, and he's gone through. So Keir McConomy into 7th, Lloyd Chafer drops to 8th, he had the good pit strategy which jumped him up the order.
Yeah.
And then now Adam Uren will be in the BMW. They're all being caught by John Munro, who's in the 8s now and is only 2 or 3 seconds behind them. So there's potential the back half of the top 10, there could be some changes in the final 5 minutes. They're just about lapped the Class D leaders.
Yeah, that's Weymouth going through. Keir McConomy, you mentioned, 47-year-old from Lichfield, has various online businesses. 3 years racing in the Mini Challenge Group S class. Having started racing in 2018, this is his first year in rear-wheel drive. So planning to race this car for years. There you can see Keir McConomy on screen now, up into to 7th position ahead of Weymouth, and he is between now the 2 Class D leaders. There's Weymouth.
Weymouth's just ahead.
I beg your pardon, yes, sorry.
It's Chafer lost out, and he's was under a lot of pressure from Uren as they turned their way through. And then they're all about to be lapped by Rob Boston, actually.
Yeah, that McConomy car, and you can see it on screen now, it's prepared by Jeff Steele Racing, is the ex Colin Gillespie and Darren Ball car that he's bought for the 2022 season.
You mentioned Gillespie. Phil Driveway's got that car back up to 16th. I think he's 35th or something earlier. So
yes, that's right.
It's progressing well. He's going to learn for traffic ready for tomorrow, isn't he, from that stint?
Absolutely right.
Bidway goes through, still ahead of Schulz.
The gap came down again, though, by
Yeah.
about a second that time, so it's about just over 1 second between them. So that could change around again before the end. 4 minutes of the race left to go.
So here comes Weymouth into Coram, then McConomy, then it's Boston, who's lapped then everybody up to 7th or something like that. Then Chafer, he's got away from Uren again, who's been caught by John Munro. So the Lotus there might gain a place here before the end. So car across the line. How many laps have we got to go? Probably 2 more.
Yeah.
So Rob Boston's done 18 laps now. But that battle for 9th position heading up towards Ritchie's is pretty close with John Munro a lot quicker on that previous lap. Andy Bailey still leads by 5 seconds in Class B over Matthias Raderstock and Paul Bancroft 3rd. Matthew Creed leads Class C now by about 20 seconds over William Puttergill in his Honda Civic.
Yes, and Puttergill was getting the black and white driving standards flag as well, so needing to be careful to observe track limits in the remainder of the race.
Puttergill's being caught by Michael Downey's Porsche Boxster, who's only 3.5 seconds behind. He was a couple of seconds quicker, so that could change. And Class D, 1.8 seconds now between Matthew Footman and Matthew Adcock. So Footman still doing job to hang on. Sun shining now here at Snetterton, which hasn't done much today. And that's John Munro, isn't it? Still trying to gain. Well, he's got past Adam Uren. Now he's going past Lloyd Chafer down the inside into Oggy. So if he can make that work, that'd be 2 places in a lap. And I think he's done it then down the inside into Williams. I think his teammate, the Class B car's just in front, which here lap in a straight line. But that's 2 places gained in half a lap for John Munro.
Yeah, so that's a good effort from him, lapping the team car as well.
Andy Schulz has re-caught Liam Bidway for 4th, then heading up towards Ritchie's. So that could change. They'll still have 2 laps to go, won't they? If they head up towards Ritchie's this time. They've pulled a long way clear of the rest, haven't they? We're stuck behind the safety car.
Josh Lawton in 3rd place is going very slowly. The number 10 car did a 2:17.98 last time through. Gap to Leon Bidway now only 33 seconds, but
more than half.
It has. It was over a minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, 70 seconds, I think.
Well, Boston goes over the line, and I think he's starting his last lap, therefore. Rob Boston, and he is going to be chased by the... Well, not chased that closely by the Andy Marston Brett Evans BMW. That's the car in 2nd place. Just coming up to the line now to take the last lap board with about a minute of the timed element of the race to go.
Yeah, it's 22 seconds behind Rob Boston. It's sort of what was 20 minutes, isn't it, since the race restarted. And then I guess it'll be a long way to Josh Lawton. We'll see how that Civic is running after a few slow laps recently. There's a battle for fourth on the screens. They'll have another lap to go at the end of this one. Leon Bidgeway still ahead of Andy Schulz. So they go through. There's Lawton heading through Coram, the car in third. So let's see if Josh Lawton continues. I guess he knows he's in this strong third place and would like to finish there if the car will allow it. So yeah, here he comes up across the line.
Was he slapping the GT86 there?
That was at Boston. Yeah, just listening out to Josh Lawton across the line. The car sounds very quiet. So he's done another 2:17 though, and if he gets that again, he should be able to hang on to third.
Yes, but
yeah, that was the
gearbox issue possibly, stuck in a gear or
that's what I was wondering.
Something like that, maybe for Josh Lawton's Honda.
Across the line, fourth and fifth together. And Andy Schulz dives down the inside into Ritchie's, and he isn't going to be able to muscle his way through. Leon Bidgeway fighting it out on the outside, but they're still side by side actually as they head up towards the Wilson hairpin. But we'll catch that up in a minute because Rob Boston is turning through Coram for the final time.
He is indeed, yes. So we're about to see him come up to take the checkered flags. We've had 45.5 minutes of the race now, so Rob Boston really successful safety car strategy in the end, and he's going to take the checkered flag to win once again in the TEGIWA Roadsports Series race. It's his second win in a row, but first time in the Class A car, and he's going to finish more than 20 seconds ahead of the second place car, which is the BMW of Andy Martin and Brett Evans, which is only now heading into Murray's for the final time. Checkered flag waving then. David Drinkwater car, the Hot Hats Championship champion for the last few years, he just goes through. Second place now over the line goes Andy Martin and Brett Evans. There is that car. Second place overall. And the question is Josh Lawton going to be able to hold on to third place then, Josh?
We'll see, because the gap was only 20 seconds. Just looking at Matthew Footman's Puma, there's no compact around, so he's had a moment. Oh, there's cars going everywhere in the infield, not quite sure what's
David
happening there.
Aston BMW Z3 is one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, Matthew Footman is celebrating, so I presume he's come through as the Class D winner.
He has, and there is no sign of Matthew Adcock at the moment in the yellow BMW, so he has had a problem on the final lap, it would seem.
Here's Josh Lawton coming through Coram, and it looks like he's still in third.
He is going to hold on to third position, I think. Matt Creed just goes across the line to take the Class C victory. 19th overall, I think that will be in the number 23 Renault Clio. There is Josh Lawton. Seems to be back up to pace to some extent. Oh no, it's a 2:18 over the line. He was a bit quicker, but he is going to hold on to third position, Josh Lawton, after he led the race in the early stages. Fourth place now, across the line goes the way of number 69, that's Andy Schulz, who took over from Matthew Hampson. And fifth place, Leon Bidgeway, number 32, although they were having a big battle going into the final lap. More air show activities, a nearby air show apparently. So you're probably picking that up. There we go, we've got that on camera as well. Fantastic. The only thing that we've not talked about then is the Class B resolution, which is Andy Bailey that's going to have won that in the end by about 7 seconds from Matthias Raderstock. I think, though, everything else we'd sorted out. Matt Creed having won Class C and Class D having been won by Matthew Footman.
Not sure this meets the Snetterton noise limits.
It probably doesn't, but it's not on the ground either, so it's probably not within our jurisdiction. So there you can see the cars being shepherded in to the Parc Ferme entrance. That's just at the exit of Palmer, so I'm not sure if our roaming camera is working. Again, it is working, and I've just been notified, so hopefully it will be a chance to hear from our various class winners. So Rob Boston from Class A, Andy Bailey from Class B, Matt Creed from Class C, and Matthew Footman from Class D. If we get time to speak to all of those drivers, so it's going to be Kieran McGinley that's going to be down there.
We have got a green flag lap for the next race, so Kieran has got a bit more time than what he might have had earlier.
He does indeed. So he's just going to try and find everyone that he needs to talk to, which with 40 odd cars, it's not going to be the work of a moment to get everyone there. He could do with a bit of help, I think, from James Winstanley or someone to find them, but we'll see if we can get down to them in a minute to try to grab a word with at least our race winner, Rob Boston, who I can see is there, ready and waiting. But yes, the remaining class winners in such a big field are quite hard to pick out. More racing still to come. It's the Race Part 750 Formula Championship up next. Then it's the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Classic Stock Catches, the Martins Group Formula V Championship, the Freaky Parts Sport Specials, the Toyo Tyres Toyota MR2 Championship, and then we've got a Race Parts Historic 750 Formula Series handicap race to wrap up the day. That's all still to come here at Snetterton. We're also enjoying the aerial sights as well. Actually quite spectacular and noisy and impressing the crowd. So yes, Roadsports next in action at Silverstone, that's next month, and then they round out their season at Anglesey in September, so we will look forward to that. So Race Part 750 Formula Championship up next here on track, and hopefully within a few moments we're to head down to the Parc Fermé area, where we will find certainly our race winner Rob Boston, and he's going to speak to Kieran McGinley.
Well, to the end of a a jarring start to the race, let's just say. I'm delighted to say we have our overall winner in Rob Boston. Rob, a bit of a fractured start to this race, couple of safety cars. What did you make of it out there?
Yeah, it was obviously the first start didn't go. I think there was a breakdown or something occurred on even before we took the start. So the green flag lap was aborted. Race start. We have formed up at the start-finish line with a delayed start. Fortunately, it was only a couple of minutes delay and we got off again. By watch point, I realised it was damn hot out there already. It's deceiving. I've been in my garage all morning and not really stuck my head out. And yeah, it was hot work actually. But yeah, got my head down at the start. Had the TCR car tried to come around me, and there was a very, very fast starting Civic. And you know, he's done very well. He's new to racing, and yeah, he just stuck his neck straight out and got ahead of me at the start. So made the first couple of laps quite hard work trying to pick a place to go past. But yeah, eventually did, and then sort of got my head down. But yeah, really exciting race. Another safety car, which meant that yeah, I was able to do the mandatory pit stop. That all went to the second smoothly, and yeah, sort of used the experience of the team to sort of get me in and out promptly, and yeah, we're never headed after that. So yeah, thanks to the team. You know, thanks to the lads who've done a great job this week getting the car together. I'm actually just in the hot seat today, but Will Stacey's in the car tomorrow, so I was very much trying to keep it in one piece today. So you know, there you go, Will. It's good enough to win, so he can keep his head down tomorrow and hopefully do the same.
That's not a pun, is it? Hot seat?
Well, yes, frankly, yeah. It is very hot and it is a seat. So yeah, absolutely, yeah. Love every moment.
And obviously you got your head down there with those safety cars. Then it must be tough to get the circulation around the car once you're started slowing down there.
Yeah, actually, when you're going slower, it is more stagnating. You know, it gets so hot in there. When you're going flat out, you get a good draft. In the traffic, you get a bit of hot air. But yeah, it is the steadier moments that are quite hot work there. And after you've finished the checkered flag, you realise how hot you are. So yeah, I'm probably complaining a lot, but you know, my fair skin doesn't fare too well in this weather.
I'll join the rest of us. It's been a fantastic pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on your win. Get yourself hydrated.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to me ramble away. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.
And with that, then, that's our overall winner in Rob Boston. That's it then. Let's move on then to the Race Part 750 Championship Series.